2 green creature decks, but up to very different things.
And
Thundermaw, Hellkite against Thragtusk. We get to finally determine once and for all who is the better animal.
Who's the king of the hill here? We're about to find out.
Finals about to get underway here. Devin looking at his opening hand. Contemplating.
Yeah, let's see. He's holding his cards up in a way that's a little tricky for us to see. But I think
we saw him have 2 excellent openings in his semifinal match, Accelerant into 3-drop both games.
Right. Turn 2 3-drop ain't too shabby, and it looks like he's keeping. Sean Weihe will not keep.
Yeah.
We've noticed a couple times on camera, especially yesterday, Jump players sometimes don't like to mulligan their 2-land no Farseek hands. That is a must mulligan. Sean obviously sees his hand, doesn't like what he sees, sends it right back. And the reason is because it's not like you have 2 lands, you draw your 3rd, you're good, because you draw your 3rd, you got nothing. You have a Lifebane Zombie at best, maybe from the hand Bonfire. You really need that 4th land and the right colors to actually play all those powerful spells that Jund's so famous for.
Yeah, and especially in these green mirror matches, the Jund deck has access to so many cards that are worth multiple cards, Thragtusk and Bonfire, Huntmaster of the Fells, that you can afford to be on 6 cards if you have the right stuff. You can argue in some control matchups, the total number of individual cards you see is really important because you're just trading 1 for 1 a lot more. So you might be more compelled to keep sketchy hands because total card count matters. But in these green mirrors, and especially against the more aggressive green decks, your cards are worth your most powerful cards are worth so much that you can afford to mulligan pretty liberally looking for the right tools.
Right. Mulligan's definitely been a tricky school of thought there. A lot of people believe different things. I'm with you. It's hard for me to mulligan in these situations where you're 1 for 1-ing. There are some players out there that will mulligan in a heartbeat any hand that does not have a near optimal start for themselves.
So Devin again opens up with a turn 1 Accelerant off of a Stomping Ground. Sean with an Overgrown Tomb.
We are not. We are on 1 land here. Very dangerous keep against Jund. If he drew Tragic Slip, it looks like, so I think we are slipping that Arbor Elf.
You can.
Oh, he does not have Tragic Slip. Maybe I saw a black card. Maybe it's Lifebane Zombie. Can't see from here.
Thundermaw off the top for Devin. Still no 2nd land. You can obviously see why he was contemplating as long as he was.
We're going to be Bonfire for 1. He definitely has a Bonfire in his hand. Or Dread. I think that's a Bonfire all the way on the very left. I don't know, I'm just getting itchy here trying to kill that Arbor Elf. That's all. Once my opponent gets a 1-lander Arbor Elf, I'm like, kill it. So Sean's thinking, and obviously the Ooze is going to be a 3/3 after he kills Arbor Elf if he does, and he will kill Arbor Elf. So he did have the Dreadbore. I don't know if he had it the last turn. I can imagine he did because he would probably have killed it then, right?
Yeah. Well, using his Dreadbore there instead of the Bonfire implies that he has a pretty land-heavy hand and he's expecting the game to go long.
Right, and Devin does draw the 2nd land here. And that's always the trick of, do you kill the Dork there, the Mana Dork? I think you do. But sometimes, he draws the 2nd land.
It's
and then
really hard to turn it down there.
Yeah.
So players figuring out. My total is Sean dropping to 14.
We have a Huntmaster of the Fells here. I see a Rakdos Return, maybe, or a Blood Crypt. I don't know how I get confused the 2, but it's either one of those. I hope he has a Rakdos Return because that's always an exciting card to have against these Naya decks, these aggro decks, because either it's phenomenal or it's pretty mediocre.
So, no play and a turn from
As a Blood
Devin there.
That's a Blood Crypt. Blood Crypt and a, let's say, Blood Crypt, Bonfire, and Thragtusk is his hand, plus lands.
Devin rather sends in the Ooze, no blocks.
If he says go here, we see a Flipped Huntmaster. It's going to be pretty rough for Devin here because we know Sean will be playing a Thragtusk to top it off. He draws another land. But Big Daddy Thrag is coming out here. And with him, Scavenging Ooze's assault will be put on hold for at least the time being.
You see 6 points coming across here for Sean, dropping Devin to 9.
And Thragtusk. Such an important card in these green deck matchups because obviously we have one deck with Thragtusk, one without. So how can a creature so powerful be a 4 of in one deck and a 0 of in another? It's just, we talked about the power level of creatures and the synergy that you have to construct. And I'm playing Thundermaw Hellkite but no Thragtusk because just my deck is built around that card in particular.
Yeah. Some Pellet Grove off the top for Devin, the 3rd land. And I think Devin on the previous turn may have wanted to use that Boros Charm on his main phase because that was basically an extra 4-point swing, both from Huntmaster flipping to Ravager, going from a 2-2 to a 4-4, and also the flip shooting Devin for 2.
Oh, yeah. I saw he had a Selesnya and a Boros Charm. I think you just have to do it on your turn. It's the same reason you just said. Definitely agree. All right, so we're going to get a... we have all land and a bonfire, looks like.
Boros Reckoner is actually quite powerful for Devin here.
It's not bad. It's definitely not bad.
Definitely makes attacking very annoying for Sean.
I think Sean can easily wait one more turn and then be able, one more turn and then be able to bonfire for 3. You like that? Hanging back. We know he has Boros Charm in hand though, so obviously I'm trying to play like I don't know he has the Boros Charm here.
I mean, in the abstract, that play is okay, but now with Devin having his 3rd land, it's very risky to just let him untap and give him a free pass into to next turn.
I don't think we have any attacks here though. He's gonna, if he attacks with Team here, well, he can't attack with Team. He's just gonna block Thragtusk with Boros Reckoner. The Boros Reckoner trigger will kill the Huntmaster, and no, he actually can't attack with anything. He has to say go. He'll lose everything if he does. Yeah,
I mean, he could send just Ravager, right? That's a reasonable attack here.
Yeah, I guess it'll just be Ravager for the Boros Reckoner itself.
Yeah,
which I would be down with that trade any day of the week. You're right.
Okay, Sean's going to alpha here.
This is going to be a disastrous combat. Devin will block here. Yep, he'll block Thragtusk.
Well, I'm not sure if it's disastrous here. Like, where are we going here? Ooze in front of Wolf.
Ooze in front of Wolf. Reckoner in front of Thragtusk. Sean loses all of his creatures. Yeah, this is going to be a disaster.
Well, it does get him down to...
luckily, well, he will be able to bonfire and kill the Ooze, so it's going to clear the board. But we know for a fact that Devin is holding all spells. Sean is down to 0 spells after this.
So I'm curious to see. I assume that he's going to shoot... Is he shooting Ravager, or is he shooting Sean? Because he does have Boros Charm in hand. I mean, I think
he's going to play it safe.
Okay.
And what's going to happen here, we're going to have a bonfire here. But like I said, if Sean waits, he might have a shot here. This looks like it's going to create a Devin fistful of spells to Sean's 0. So he's going to have to rely on the top card of his deck.
Well, I mean, that attack knocks Devin down to 5, now this to 3, and you have a lethal token in play. So if Devin's still choked on mana, any spot removal spell that you draw here also provides lethal. So
yeah, definitely on the top of his library. He's banking on that top card here.
But I think, now that Devin's starting to draw his mana, I don't mind this line at all from Sean. Try to close the game out while you have a chance to do so. And he's got some breathing room on it. He's at 12. Devin's going to have to take a really defensive posture here. So any of Sean's good draws are going to be enough to push this game out.
Actually, what we just saw in his hand, this is hindsight, of course, but Devin will be able to Selesnya Charm and then double strike Smiter for a lethal attack if Sean doesn't draw something here. Ooh, this might be the game, the ball game.
Well, it appears as though Devin's...
If he has Selesnya Charm. I know he has Boros. I think this is Selesnya Charm beside it.
I think it's Domri. 2 Thundermaws, Domri, and Boros Charm is
Domri's a pretty sick one, too, there.
So that was one of the few draws that Sean has there that's not very good. A Wolf Run or any removal spell or any creature would be enough to give him a huge edge here. But
yeah, a lot of like you said, he had a lot of outs just to end the game immediately. Olivia would have won, a removal spell would have won, a bonfire would have won, a Rakdos Return would have won. So Sean had a lot of outs. But that Farseek, he has one more turn and then that's it. Because Devin, we know, is going to play Domri here at worst and fight. Attacking for 4 and giving him a 1-turn window because the Thundermaw will finish him off.
Another Smiter of the draw.
Here comes Domri for the fight. Now a few outs are gone for Sean. Wolfrun's not an out. So Sean's top card must be a spell that does something. A Farseeker or land will be the end of the game for him. We have a double striking 4/4. At a slip.
Is a tragic slip.
That will not do it. It will be able to survive a.
If he's playing around Boros Charm, he can slip here.
Yeah, he'll definitely survive.
Although
this.
now he's just drawing Gorkline Rampager, so that is no longer the case.
No, this is going to be a lethal attack if Devin decides to go for it. You know.
All right. Yep, he's
not
going to fall to 4 and then Boros Charm.
Is it. Yep.
And that's the game. Sean, I think made the correct path. That alpha was not obviously on the board. It did not look great, but it got Devin into. He got a token left over. He was within range of killing Devin with a number of draws. It was unfortunately for Sean Farseek.
Right.
And
I think your line was better. I didn't see it at first. I think attacking with just the flip Huntmaster would have been the best situation for him. I mean, not knowing anything, you basically will you trade a Huntmaster for Vor's Reckoner in the matchup? I would do that 300 out of 300 times.
Well, the bigger issue there is
it leaves you with Thragtusk, it leaves you with a guy, and then if you draw a removal spell like you said previously, you just kill the Scavenging Ooze with it anyway, and then you're just not only do you have Thragtusk token, they have nothing, and you're just cracking them anyway. You're going to kill them that way too.
Well, I think that the logic from Sean's perspective is, well, I have nothing left except this bonfire. My opponent has just starting to draw mana when they've been installed on lands the entire game. I don't have a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of power. So putting my opponent into a position where they're low, I'm not going to allow them to deploy many more cards in their hand, and I have a ton of live draws is not a bad spot to be in. And at the end of the game, Devin had 4 or 5 cards left in his hand. I mean, contracting the amount of time left in the game, I think was a good strategic line for Sean to take. He was just not rewarded with what his top draw was.
I think, and obviously I don't want to go back and forth too much on it, but I think that if he does the line that you mentioned, and even if he's drawing land and he plays stuff, he gets to untap and bonfire for 3, which kills nearly every card in his opponent's deck. If not, then he can do it for 4, and he has plenty of time to get Thragtusk behind. I don't know, should you put yourself in a situation where you draw any spell for 2 turns you win, or you know that bonfire, no matter what you draw, you're either drawing land, which will fuel your bonfire, or you're drawing a spell, which will put you in the driver's seat too. I kind of like that safer play. I think it's different play styles. I think you can, a lot of times, you'll have 2 different players that are both pretty good. I think we're pretty good. We're not bad.
Fine.
We've done some things.
Okay.
Yeah, not too shabby. Where you can either be aggressive and win, and obviously a lot of times you don't draw a Farseek there and you win. You know, you draw anything in your whole deck, you win. Or you go the other route, a little bit safer, and you draw your Farseek. He actually Farseek gets the bonfire for 4 the next turn, which not only will kill that ooze pretty easily because of the mana choking situation, but also kill any smite or whatever else you do.
Sure.
So, I mean, we saw what happened. I'd love to see people's hands, and it helps me decide what to do. But in the situation, I'm definitely a much more fearful Magic player.
Sure. So, real quick, before we cut back to our match here, as the players are sideboarding, we have a trivia time. Again, the winner of this gets 1 full free year of premium, a sweet deal. You get to check out a bunch of content from players like Hall of Famer Patrick Chapin, current player championship top 4 competitor Reed Duke, Jerry Thompson, a litany of the awesome roster that Star City Games has to offer. And that trivia question is, we've seen Devin Weiss's Naya deck on camera. One of the very few decks in the tournament that's playing 2 different charms of that pretty powerful cycle across the board of charms that appeared in Return to Ravnica block. For 1 full year premium, what are the 2 charms that appear in Devin Weiss's deck? Again, give the answer to @SCG Live, #SCG Premium, and 1 person will be chosen at random for full free year premium at the end of this match. So going on the sideboard, we talked about this a little bit while the players were getting set up before we started the match. We thought that Sean Weihe, our Jund player, should be trying to basically make his deck faster, cheaper to the board, bring in his Pillar of Flames, be a little bit faster to remove creatures, and then try to win the games with a mixture of his 4 and 5 drop creatures and bonfires.
All right, so we obviously cut Garrick. I can't imagine a world where you want that. It seems like a lot of these creatures in the Naya deck are just made to defeat planeswalkers, and especially Garruk, who doesn't really have high impact. I see it being maybe a 5-mana Ancestral Recall that we saw yesterday, which is not too shabby, or drawing some cards. But as far as the beast goes, you really don't want to set yourself up for their Bonfire being even better, their Hellkite being even better, their Reckoner being even better. So, and even their Lifebane Zombie, which pretty much can get in against almost every creature, being better. So we're going to see that get cut. I like your suggestion of Barter and Blood. I see that coming in. Even more so now that we've seen situations where they go Mana Dork, dude, and you Farseek, you're going to blow them out with a Barter and Blood.
Particularly now that you have pillars to also fight over their voices, which would be one of the stronger arguments for not having access to that card.
Yeah, I like it. So we're definitely bringing in the Barter and Blood, 2 pillars, that's 3 cards. And then I like a Golgari Charm just because I don't like losing to Miracle Bonfires. And after seeing what happened to our poor friend last round, Alex, it's pretty rough when they regenerate or indestructible in response to that. It's almost game over if you have a decent board presence.
It's a harder card for me to get on board with bringing in, just because it's much more narrow than, say, Boros Charm, which is always 4 damage, or Double Strike inside of combat, which has applications. Golgari Charm in Sean's deck is basically just a response to Bonfire, which makes me a lot more dubious about bringing it in. I do not know for sure if people are going to be bringing in Barter and Blood in this spot. I know it's typically more geared towards beating the Bant Hexproof matchup, where Barter and Blood is a haymaker. But I also think, Devin's going to be on the ground faster with creatures. Sean's going to be spending his early turns either playing removal spells, maybe Farseeking, and I think he can set up Barter to just be a kill spell for 2 creatures. So.
Yeah, well, he has to board out 2 cards, minimum. The Garruks have to come out. I don't know if he actually has to board out anything else. I mean, obviously Dreadbore's not the greatest removal spell in the world. It still kills 4/4s, which this deck might have a hard time doing. He only has Slip and Putrefy. I like to have 6 ways to kill those things. On the other side, I see you have 2 Bonfire that come in. Mizium Mortars isn't too shabby. Also kills Olivia Boulder, which you don't have many answers for, so that has to come in. We mentioned the Triumph of the Ferocity coming in maybe as a card draw spell. He is on the draw right now, so it wouldn't be as good, but definitely not a shabby turn 2 play. Scavenging Ooze definitely will come in, pretty much against any other green deck. And maybe a Silesian Charm. So we might see the same kind of sideboarding as we saw last round.
Well, we saw the charms, both of them, be very powerful in both that game and in the semifinal match. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Devin go to a setup with a lot more charms than you're seeing Devin mulligan here. I don't exactly know how he makes room, because everything in his deck is pretty powerful.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely the Hellrider comes out. I think this is probably the weakest card. Just the creatures on the other side, Hellrider rarely can kind of get in there. I wouldn't like it against the Thriatus decks. Besides the Hellrider, yeah, I agree with you. I don't really see much. I mean, maybe you could shave a mana guy, but you really want to have that turn 2 3-drop. So maybe Goreclan Rampager.
I think Rampager, maybe a couple of Smiters are kind of the flex slots in this deck. Yeah. None of them are especially good against Sean, and you have to make room somewhere. Although, if a large part of your game plan is Domery, it's rough to take out so many creatures. There's an argument that once you have that many spells in your deck, maybe you're supposed to cut one of the Domerys, because its overall effectiveness is diminished, and drawing multiple copies of Domery is also not good.
Exactly, yeah. And a Smiter is kind of a fun card too. Think about a few Righteous Return hands that the Jund player might have. I mean, Jund is on the play. He's not going to board out all his Righteous Returns. If he's setting up for that, it's a pretty sick series of plays when those guys come flying out of your hand.
I don't know. It's reasonable that Sean actually removes both of them in one of the Garruks. If we're only talking about 3 sideboard slots, maybe that's the way he goes.
Maybe, yeah. The return just seems, even in that last match, picture a return that last game would have been pretty good for Sean. I have a hard time cutting that card. Just Fireball and Mind Twist is just.
It's a good combo. Yeah. You see Sean get off to a much better start in this game. He's got Farseek on 2. Getting his mana set up.
All right, we see Bonfire in Devin's hand, so we know that's 1 miracle short there.
A turn 2 Avacyn's Pilgrim for Devin.
I like the dynamic of this matchup. I mean, obviously, Jund, everyone might be a little over watching Jund play every round. However, it's a great deck. Naya is a pretty good deck also. and pretty much the play skill and the decisions come from combat math and combat attacks, which is different than what I'm used to seeing in these end game here.
So you see a Lifebane Zombie and Devin's hand after a mulligan. This is going to be fairly devastating. It looks like we're looking at a hand of Bonfire of the Damned, Boros Reckoner, Thundermaw Hellkite, and lands. So that Reckoner. Oh no, it's Reckoner and two Thundermaws?
It looks like Thundermaw, Bonfire, and Reckoner.
Okay, yeah, that's what it looks like to me too. So
yeah, there's a Bonfire hiding behind there.
This is not the first time we've seen mulligan and then a successful Lifebane Zombie hit in these Jund matchups. So a much better start for Sean in the second game.
Yeah. He draws Selesnya Charm. Obviously does a decent amount of work in this matchup. He's electing to not attack with this elf because he obviously wants to be able to play Thundermaw next turn. Not elf, excuse me, human. Elf-esque.
Yeah. A mana creature.
Yeah, one that taps for things. Intimidate, 3 for 3. Pretty good card. I am definitely impressed with the card overall.
You see Huntmaster.
Sean's waiting, maybe doesn't want to get counterspelled here. Just waiting for a token, it looked like.
So I'm curious now to see if Devin is going to.
Is that a?
There's a Loxodon Smiter off the top.
I mean, you definitely Bonfire for 2 here, right?
Just, I like it better than playing Thundermaw this turn.
100%, yeah. You get rid of that nasty board there.
Because if you don't Bonfire for 2, what you're risking is Sean passing, killing your. Yeah, I like this play a lot. If Devin were to just try to land Thundermaw this turn, then he risks the Huntmaster flipping into Ravager, which shuts down some amount of mana and also makes it so the Ravager is then outside of Bonfire range going forward. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. Good call there for the Bonfire. Drawing that Smiter was probably the worst possible draw Devin could do in hindsight here.
Yeah.
To add to the Lifebane. Now we're mulligan. What are we mulligan down to now? That would be 4, taking 2 cards from us. But it looks like Sean again is out of spells.
Yep, he's just living off the top now. It looks like his hand's led. And, back to Devin's sideboarding, the Lifebane Zombie is definitely an argument for cutting some of these Smiter Reckoner type creatures.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it makes some sense now.
Yeah.
Because these Lifebane Zombies, if Sean rips a removal spell for that Thundermaw, these Lifebane Zombies have done so much work.
Right. Luckily that Bonfire was money. That was a very good one. Obviously, I don't know if Sean really had much choice. I think he has to play Huntmaster here to get out of his hand. He does have Wolfrun, though. He could have, I guess, just intimidated his way up. But then again, Devin would have just untapped, play Thundermaw Hellkite, and then it would be even worse for him. So I think he didn't have a choice here. So we're probably going to see Thundermaw this turn.
Seems like as good of a time as any.
Yeah. And if he has another land, he might send in his elf, or I keep saying elf, human, for an extra damage. We drew Boros Reckoner. Ooh, so he has option of Reckoner and Charm or Thundermaw. I think it's Thundermaw time.
I really like playing Thundermaw this turn.
But he's going to opt out. Choose the latter here. Alright, so Sean does not play with the Wolfrun first. Curious.
Well, he knows about Selesnya Charm in...
Right. I think I would definitely rather... I would have baited the heck out of that card, especially if you're drawing Olivia.
Well, he might not have. He doesn't have enough mana to bait this turn.
Right.
Because he would need to pump it to 5, which he would need to pump. The amount of mana left over would not allow him to play Olivia this turn.
Well, yeah, here's the line that I think I'd go with. You're at 20 life, and I would probably bait it just and then time walk myself, because knowing he has that Charm in hand, I know once that's out of his hand, Olivia is going to win this game. It's going to be literal game over.
Once you know about Thundermaw's in his hand too, so it's not clearly the case. I mean, that's a lot of damage.
Ping and steal is pretty good. I don't see he has enough mana to ping and steal, so I don't know.
Well, in the world you're describing, he's a turn behind doing all this.
Right. He would definitely be. It would definitely be a lower life total for Sean, but he would have control over the game, and there would be no creatures out.
So Sean is curious to see how much he wants to play. How much is he going to play around the Selesnya Charm? Is he willing to pump the Lifebane Zombie? to 5 or plus to try to induce it and then let Olivia take the game over, or is he just not interested in letting Devin use the card at all?
I think it's time to wolf run that life-based zombie to the extreme here. Maybe -1 or -2, leaving 2 of them for Olivia.
No, it appears that he's committed to just pumping once. He's not interested. He's got a 2-turn clock right now.
It's not bad either. Yeah.
On Devin, and he's not going to let him use that Selesnya charm.
Let's see how much damage the Selesnya charm provides, though. We have 3 from the Reckoner, 5 from the Hellkite, 2 from the charm if he so chooses. But he's not going to. He's definitely going to hold that charm. Oh, that's a pretty good card. That's a pretty good card to draw. Reckoner loves to fight. So now he actually has a way to kill Olivia. Problem is, he is at 6 life. So Thundermaw Hellkite is out of the question because he will die if he does that. Olivia will untap, steal Thundermaw Hellkite, and he'll kill him.
Well, he needs to.
He has to play Domri here and then fight, I think.
He needs to use Selesnya charm, I think, to pump his Reckoner, and then fight to take out both creatures.
Definitely. That's definitely the play. Pretty good one, I might add, right? Not too bad.
Although the fact that he wasn't willing to do it before combat might mean that he has a different path in mind.
I think he's, I think he just made a little mistake. There is really no other line to take here. Every other way it sacrifices your Reckoner just a 1-for-1, where this is a huge 2-for-1 if he does this. I don't think he sees the play.
I don't know. Well, let's see what's going on here.
Honestly, I didn't see the play either until you mentioned it. But that play is obviously phenomenal. I'm sad that I'm in the Devin camp right now with him. I would have missed it.
Well, no, not necessarily, because Olivia can be pumped to a 6/6 in response, right?
Can it? 2 more pings, 6/6.
So that puts it out of Reckoner still can't brawl straight up.
He actually has to.
Oh no, because then the 1 ping on the Reckoner would allow him to redirect to the Lifebane zombie. Yeah, so it could clear it out. He could clear it out both ways.
Exactly. Yeah, you would be. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked if he has another target, but he only has Avacyn's Pilgrim, and then he has to target the Boros Reckoner.
Right. So he's responding here by shooting down that.
All right. So pretty much the end result was he gets to keep Lifebane Zombie, and Devin gets to keep Selesnya Charm, which isn't the worst. Obviously. He can't kill him.
I suspect there was a way to operate that where he could have cleared out both things.
Right.
So this is going to be a Lifebane zombie. Again, remember he's aware of the presence of Selesnya Charm in Devin's hand, so he can't wolf run this for lethal. He can only he can go up to 4 and knock Devin down to 2.
Obviously ignoring Domri because Intimidate's pretty good. He knows that Thundermaw Hellkite can block. So pretty much Devin has 2 draw steps here. 1 draw step natural, and then the second is a creature, but I don't know if a creature can handle that Lifebane zombie. And he draws a Smiter. We are in full unblockable mode right now. And if Devin went the different line of what you suggested, the Selesnya Charm, the board would have been cleared, but now I think we're going to be going to game 3.
Yep, can't actually block the Intimidate creature, it appears, and Devin trying to see if there's any other path here, and we're going to go on to a 3rd game.
All right, so Devin and I would have lost that game, but you would have won that game.
Well, I mean, it would have gone on for quite a few more turns.
Yeah, he would have been. He would have had a Domri with a Thundermaw Hellkite on an empty board, pretty good.
Well, he would have been short on mana to cast, and the Wolf Run. Yeah, I mean, there's a Wolf Run in play on Sunside. It's not.
The game would have continued. Definitely.
There was a complicated line there. I think if he Selesnya Charms, he's able to clear out the entirety of things, because that Olivia has to shoot the Reckoner to get over enough size to survive the fight, and then Reckoner can redirect to Lifebane Zombie, Olivia and Reckoner trade, and then life goes on.
Right.
But anyhow, going back to the sideboards here, I don't think there's anything that Devin really wants to change dramatically on the play versus on the draw, except he may want Triumph of Ferocity slightly more, though I still am suspicious of that card against a deck with so much removal and large creatures of its own. And
I definitely like it. I think on the play, not only is it good if you have it in your opening hand on turn 2, I don't think you can lose on turn 2, because even if he has a removal spell, we are targeting mana dorks. Even if he has a smiter, he's got to kill it immediately. If he has Boris Reckoner, it's bigger than everything in his deck minus Thragtusk. So I think you're going to be drawing cards from it. Obviously, it's a one-of, so you don't want to draw that later when you're kind of getting into this Thragtusk on your side of the board, and my guys are much smaller. But in your opening hand, it would be a pretty devastating card.
Yeah, I know you can definitely get some awesome draws involved in it. That's definitely in range.
High risk, high reward, I think.
Yeah. The other thing is maybe he wants Mizium Mortars less when he's on the play because he's just trying to be more proactive. But based on the games that we've seen so far, I really feel if Devin's going to be sideboarding anything at all, let's say at the minimum it's 2 Selesnya Charms, a Boros Charm, and 2 Bonfires. Because we've seen those cards in his hand a lot. Right. It seems reasonable to assume that he's boarded in a lot of Charms against these Jund opponents, unless he just simply happens to be drawing a lot of the ones that are randomly in his deck.
I assume he's up to 4.
Makes sense. If I was in Devin's shoes right now, I would just be wanting to cut some of the white creatures because of what we've seen with Lifebane Zombie. He got Lifebane Zombied twice that game, where he was basically just one additional threat short of being able to handle what was happening.
I agree, yeah. The only thing about Mizium Mortars is I think it actually might be better than Celestia Charm. In that situation, Olivia can be a 4/4 pretty easily and then just dodge Celestia Charm all day, or if he had the Mortars there, he could have easily taken it out.
Yeah.
I think only because Olivia. I think you're right. He wants to be aggressive. Mortars is not a very aggressive card, but it's just that easy out to Olivia that a lot of times this deck has a hard time dealing with the lack of Searing Spear, as we know.
And it's also, it actually wouldn't surprise me if the card that Devin cut in all of this is Voice of Resurgence, oddly enough, because you know about Lifebane Zombie, it's just another thing that gets tagged. It's as a 2/2, it's pretty much invalidated by every creature that Sean can play, and you know that he's bringing in Pillar of Flame, which is very well suited to taking out Voice. So that's another card that maybe is too low impact and too susceptible to Sean's reactive elements to really keep in your deck in the post-board games.
I agree, and I think I don't know if he brings out all copies of it, but he definitely brings out a couple, and I wouldn't be against him bringing out the full load there. The only time we ever see Voice doing well against Jund is when the tokens start running amok, obviously after a bonfire or something of that nature. But with Pillar of Flame, there's no real other target for Pillar of Flame that blows you out besides your mana guys. So that is the target. And then in that situation, Pillar's a pretty dead card that Jund can draw against you.
Yeah. It's really tough when we're sitting there and we're speculating on how Devin's going to sideboard and what does he want to take in and out. It's tough because every card in his deck is excellent. He doesn't really have any obvious cards to take out.
Right, yeah.
You know,
I see only one that glares at me, and that's about it.
Yeah, and even the Hellrider gives him really explosive draws. It's not a card that can be taken by Lifebane Zombie.
Right.
You know, there's an argument for that card being quite potent as well. So it's really hard to sideboard with Devin's deck just because the individual card quality is so high. You have lands that you can't touch. You have your mana creatures, which are critical to what's going on. You have cards that are for your curve, your 2-drops, and your charms. And then your 3 and 4 and 5 mana creatures are all just A+ qualities.
You could use the new sideboard rules and go up to 66 cards.
Just shovel it all in.
You can go up to 64 cards. We won't judge you for that.
So game 3 of our standard finals here are getting close to kicking off. Players are shuffling up and getting ready. Devin will be on the play.
Devin is hoping for that explosive draw his deck is capable of. That's really the key. I think Naya mid-range can beat Jund in the long game, which we've seen it do, but it has a much more effective chance when it's doing its thing 1-drop into 3-drop, I think.
Yeah, no, those explosive mana accelerant starts are really what powers Naya, because there's so many powerful 4s and 5s that once you get on the front foot, even if your opponent staves off the initial wave of stuff, you have Bonfires and Thundermaws and Domeries,
Boros Charm,
trying to back this all up. When you don't start with those explosive things, then your opponent's Putrefies and random spot removals might allow them to keep their head above water with what you're doing, but when you get out on the front foot, it's so hard to beat Naya.
Yeah, what do you think about Gavany Township in this matchup? I think that's a killer card. I think that can actually make it so Bonfire almost is worthless I think it can also dodge a lot of the early removal when it comes to pillars and things. I would be interested to see how well that card is positioned in this on the play with a couple mana dorks. I think that could be a real game winner if he draws it.
Well, Gavity Township's opportunity cost is pretty low. Of course, it's only the one colorless land in the deck. I think it's hard for the game to get into a place where townshipping a lot is a thing that's happening because the Jund deck itself is also able to generate a lethal board pretty quickly. We've seen Sean go from, and Alex previous to this go from I'm on defense, I'm on defense, I'm on defense to I'm now threatening lethal very quickly. And the fact that Sean has sweepers as well.
It pretty much just gives you a little bit of bonfire protection. Instead of having to commit more and more creatures to the board, making the 3/3s into 4/4s into 5/5s into 6/6s. I've seen it kind of derail Jund a few times, especially when you look at that. It's kind of saddening when you look at that Miracle Bonfire and they have a 7/7 Locks on Smiter in play. It's pretty tough to deal with. But again, yeah, you're right. It has to pretty much devolve into that.
Yep.
It looks like we have a mulligan by Naya.
Sean's going to keep.
Yeah, Jund keeping a 7. Looks like he kept pretty quick. I'm interested to see maybe a Farseek start will be pretty rough for Devin here.
Well, I don't know if I see a green card in his hand.
My vision is definitely not that good. We'll find out here. We're going to have a nice little pile shuffle. Devin's making sure he's efficiently randomized here.
Again, looking back at the sideboard, we know Sean has access to 2 copies of Pillar of Flame, which have almost certainly come in. And then after that, there's a lot of question marks.
I love that 4 Ray of Revelation. That man is not losing the band hexproof.
Oh yeah, Devin sideboard.
Not 2, not 1, 4 Ray of Revelation. I've not seen that all weekend.
I know. I really like that. I think that band hexproof just doesn't get enough respect in people's sideboards in general, and then people just complain a lot when they lose. And Devin's clearly leaving nothing to chance when he's sideboarded.
And 3 Unflinching Courage. So not only is he bringing 4 Ray of Revelation, he's also planning on putting Unflinching Courage on a Reckoner and just going to town or Smiter or whatever he wants to do. So I really like what he's doing there. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And Sean's sideboard's a little bit, run-of-the-mill Jund. But, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
Low machine here. He holds his hand out a little bit farther. That's kind of the sign of I'm not exactly static. And then again, that's my poker read. I don't know if it's actually bad. It is bad.
Yeah.
Usually you do that when you're I can't believe this. Can you believe this? Finals, mulligan to 5. You keeping your 7. How fortuitous.
But again, this Naya mid-range deck, its best draws are super explosive, and you have cards like Domri that are able to recoup.
Yeah, that'll dig you out. Turn 2 Domri will easily dig you out of a mold of 5 here.
And an uncontested Thundermaw Hellkite, a fast Thundermaw Hellkite, that's worth a bunch of cards. I
Never
think
count anyone out, that's for sure.
A lot of these standard decks are a lot more robust to mulliganing to low numbers than decks I've seen in the past because they have cards that are either worth multiple cards on the board or they have synergies that allow them to recoup a lot of what the advantage their opponent has by having some cards.
I mean, even in the blue decks, you see Snapcaster Augurs and Revelations allowed to dig you out of early mulligans. And the aggro decks replace that card advantage with just potency.
Yeah.
I definitely see that.
Certain iterations of beatdown decks, mono red historically has not mulliganed very well, but these Naya decks definitely have enough power in them to overcome this sort of thing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Mono red, I mean, you're mulliganing. When you mulligan, you're sacrificing 3 damage. And then you mulligan, you sacrifice 6 damage. It's one of those things where it's real tough to come back from mulligan to 5. But this Naya deck, or Blitz decks of the similar sort, can easily put out 20 damage with their 5-card hand in a few turns. So. All right, so we have a mold of 5. Let's hope he keeps this. I don't want to see a mold of 4. At that point, our discussion gets a little bit different here, I think.
Yeah.
I can count the mulligan of 4 victories I've had on one finger. One time, lifetime. And
Looks like he's looking at a hand of Stomp Me Ground, Voice of Resurgence, Domri, and 2 Charms looks about what we're looking at here. I can't imagine throwing this back at this stage.
You can't go to 4, you just have to hope the top 2 cards will land. I mean, that's just...
He's got an Ooze.
Yeah, we're just hoping this top cards land here. There's another Voice of Resurgence. And Devin, sadly, will pass turn. Looks like we have our turn 2 Ooze here, not a Farseek. And
Charm off the top for Devin. Still no help yet.
a Freudian slip of no hope. I'm with you kind of here. I hope he can draw out of this, but it is just rough here.
Another
And again, 2 oozes is not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, he's under a lot of pressure, and there's a temple
not
guard.
Not bad. So now we're back here. We're definitely going to play a Voice of Resurgence here. Not a bad card against a bunch of 2/2s. Sean's start is not exactly the Jund start you want.
There's a Farseek, and his hand's just removal, a Liliana, a Dreadbore, and a Slip. I mean, he doesn't have a lot to really extend his advantage right now.
No, yeah. And
he's pretty light on pressure.
Yeah, and Devin has a decent amount of spells in his hand here. This is obviously going to be a big Dreadbore here. He's going to eat the token with a Ooze. He's going to slip the other one. I don't know. Do you slip there? The 1/1?
Well, I think that he's playing. He has Liliana in his hand, so he's playing that Liliana is going to be his follow-up removal spell. But we know that Devin has another Voice in his hand, which
right.
is
You clearly can wait, I think, until he uses his mana for the slip there. I'm not a big fan of the sorcery slip here, but you know, it's definitely minor.
I think that's.
There's no advantage to doing it. I think you just wait and see what he does, but you can always respond to that voice by slipping.
All right. Well, you know, given how removal and attrition oriented Sean's draw is here, you can't ask for too much more than a bunch of Voice of Resurgences.
Right. And here comes the Liliana. Oh no, the Petrify.
Yep.
Pretty much the same thing. Liliana, obviously a little less specific on the removal. Maybe you might want to hold that. But again, not really. It's definitely marginal. It's not something that's going to be a big game.
Well, Devin's pretty low on life here, but with a good follow-up, he might be able to kind of stabilize this board.
We know he has Liliana, and it looks like one more. Is that Farseek in his hand? Yes, Farseek Liliana. All right. Devin does not have a 4th land, so he's looking at a bunch of oozes.
Yeah, and the real bummer for Devin here is that his hand is all 2-mana spells in Domri. If he had a 4th land or a 1-mana spell to follow up this, he could start chaining together multiple spells, but instead...
Right. I think we're going to try to double block here with or block pump here. No, definitely double block, much better. That's 4 power on the board instead of 3. So I think he's going to be Celestial Charming, electing for a 2/2 Knight. That's if Sean goes for it here, and he does. So we're going to see a 2/2 flash creature come into play. And then with a double block here. Sean might have wished, especially with 3 mana open, he has to know there's a charm coming because pretty much every card in Devin's deck is castable for this mana. Yeah. So the Liliana pre-combat would have been a little better here, I think. That actually might be enough to get Sean into this game here, or Devin back into this game. Because now Liliana's much less effective here as a plus here. He's saying go. Again,
I don't think he wants to play... okay, he's leaving the token left over.
He's not saying go. Okay, good. We're not done yet. We're not done yet.
I think Sean may have misordered the blocking order there because if he puts the Knight first, then the 3/3 Ooze finishes off what is the 1/1 Elemental token.
I'm assuming they were both dead. I don't know how he... I guess...
If he puts the Elemental first, then it doesn't work.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a minor... or it's a mistake.
Well, this actually might turn out to be fairly significant because if he has to use a Leon to finish off this token, that means he's out of removal. And that means the next creature that is drawn is potentially live.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So this is no small thing.
This is definitely going to bite him. Is he saying go?
Well, he doesn't want to use I guess he doesn't want to use the Edict just yet, and he doesn't want to play Liliana and plus it because there's the threat of Loxodon Smiter.
Oh, yes. Plussing here would be not the play. I'm pretty sure you play Liliana here to Edict him, but we'll see if how badly that affects the board here. Devin can easily sit here with Scavenging Ooze and play it, or Charm into turn again and try the same old blocking mechanism. I don't think Sean's going to make the same mistake of misordering this time. I also think Sean will be much more inclined to play Liliana Edict pre-combat because his opponent's at 2 life. There's no real option here for Devin besides he's either playing one of those Oozes or he's going to play...
Sean goes beat down with his Vigilance Knight.
Celestial Charm. So let's see which one he does.
Again, Sean is just just really needs another mana.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're intending on
with
playing
Ooze
in
and a
Legacy
turn.
Open and have
Give me
not yet
Devin,
registered,
Devin.
make your way up to the main event stage right now. This is one of your last chances.
Either a
to
mana
register
creature
with
or
the
a land would have been excellent there.
Right. I think he drew a third Scavenging Ooze. I think he's holding 3. All right, here's the Liliana pre-combat. He's going to Edict his opponent here. Liliana, one of my favorite planeswalkers ever printed. Very powerful card.
I assume this is just going to be a Selesnya Charm and a chump block.
Alright, so Sean is now.
I mean, he still has Boros Reckoner as a draw here. Sean is out.
You know what I would love to draw here, to be honest? Is Reckoner would be great. Maybe not the worst draw might be Loxodon Spire. Do you think he's going to plus Liliana?
Well, he used it to Edict this turn.
I'm talking about the next turn. Do you think he might plus it? I think he has to with no cards, especially if he draws a whiff here. He needs to have another Edict.
I think the first thing you're just going to do is just attack with the Ooze and see what happens from there.
Oh yeah. So he's going to attack with the Ooze. Let's just see what Devin draws here. It might be an interesting series here.
It's a Boros Reckoner. All right, we have a blocker.
Sean is definitely kicking himself right here. A misorder. He forgot the Liliana the first time around pre-combat would have been pretty good. So this game is not away from him yet.
It's less clear with the Liliana pre-combat if he was playing around, something or not. But now he's actually, we have a pretty, for momentarily stable board for Devin. Sean needs to draw nothing for a number of turns for this to be.
We are talking about a
long
lot of turns.
a long time of drawing nothing.
2 life, 2, which gives him every burn spell in the book. He's not going to plus Liliana, and I don't like that play for a few reasons. One, Devin, if he had a smiter for the last X amount of turns, he would have played this at chump blocking with a 2/2. That's one. 2, if he drew it that last turn, so be it, but your Liliana is at least in Edict mode, and you can kill the Boros Reckoner hypothetically, or at least another creature he plays. Not plussing the Liliana there, I think, is a grave error.
Well, if he drew, I guess there's an argument if he drew. Whoa, this is Sean showing no fear.
Oh,
takes out
Liliana too.
Takes out Liliana, and now he has
Domri fight.
Okay, so this is the path we're gonna fight here. We're gonna clear out the board. Devin again on the ropes, but still not dead just yet. There's a Hunt Master.
Yeah, he's probably scared Devin a little bit, flipping the top card.
Yeah.
Well, now Hunt Master is lethal when it flips, so Devin must deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has an answer. He has Scavenging Ooze to gain a life in his hand. He has actually 3 Scavenging Oozes to gain life. You can pick any one in his hand to use.
It's a Reckoner.
It's a fantastic card to draw.
It is incredible that Devin is still slogging along in this game for how poorly it was going.
Right. I mean, we're hyping this up. Obviously, a anticlimactic bonfire will be the end of Devin, but this is pretty good. And he's going to go the Ooze route because he has to. He can't just play Reckoner because he'll just pass turn and kill you. He's going to eat something main phase to gain life. We are in this game. I think there's no reason not to eat your own Reckoner here also to gain a little life. I don't know. Waiting is
well, he may be better served playing another
Scavenging Ooze.
Another Ooze.
All right, so let's see what happens here.
And there's a Wolf Run. That's going to be
ballpark.
That's going to be lethal.
Miracle Wolf Run will do it.
And there it is. Sean Weihe. Devin with a mulligan to 5 that third game and floundered around, misses second land drop for forever, but really actually was right there in the end. I mean, like we said, he needed to avoid a ton of draws there.
Miss every card in Magic, and then you'd win.
Yeah,
but we've seen it. We've seen a couple times Jun drew 2 Farseeks. Remember that? And that was it for him. So we needed him to draw about 4 Farseeks, and that probably would have been the game.
So congratulations to Sean Weihe, our Standard Open winner. Congratulations also to Devin Weiss. Very good showing, second place finish.